favor.
Você escreveu na revista New Yorker sobre os problemas do sistema de saúde americano na abordagem e na reação à pandemia. Aqui no Brasil, a gente falou um pouco aqui de problemas políticos, mas também há um problema de, por exemplo, no Brasil, os respiradores não puderam ser fabricados aqui porque peças são feitas só na China e há uma codependência entre países, um sistema de produção que atrapalhou essa reação emergencial. E você fala em rever os valores do que constituir um sistema de saúde. Eu queria que você falasse um pouco sobre qual o sentido de um sistema público de saúde e quais são as prioridades, de que maneira a gente deveria rever isso depois do que aconteceu.
Well, one thing that the pandemic has exposed very clearly is that for essential equipment, such as masks and ventilators, we cannot depend on a pipeline of production that is so highly dependent on China that when the Chinese system collapses or is unable to provide, that the entire global system also collapses with it. There are certain goods which have to be stockpiled. And of course, no one likes stockpiling because it means waste. But we've learned that having a stockpile, for instance, of masks and of ventilators would have been very helpful because they could have been deployed much more easily. Number two is for certain things, it may be better to have local manufacturers that can be scaled up. The idea that I've proposed many times, and including in the New Yorker article, is to essentially run what would be like production drills, just like you run a fire drill to ensure that if there's a fire in the building, people are prepared, they know exactly what to do. And they can, in the case of a production drill, the question is how quickly can you scale up production locally? So I'll give you a particular example. As you can imagine, the United States had the capacity previously to produce high quality N95 masks. But over the last several years, we have moved that capacity over to China so that when we really needed masks, we couldn't produce them anymore. The part of the answer to this conundrum is to basically, for the government, for federal agencies to pre-authorize production facilities and ensure that these production facilities have the capacity to expand if they need to expand, and that they're not dependent on a single good or a single product, the failure of which will make the entire system fall down. So in other words, to build in redundancies and resiliencies for what would be considered essential goods to manage any medical crisis. So that includes, for any infectious medical crisis, that would include appropriate protective gear for frontline healthcare workers that would have prevented all these infections in frontline healthcare workers and made the hospital safe. And also made the nursing home safe. As you might know, a vast fraction of the deaths in the United States were in nursing homes. And that was because these nursing homes were operating on very thin budgets and they were just not safe for their residents. So we cannot depend on other countries because when those countries themselves are in a crisis, the entire production chain collapses and there is no resilience or redundancy built into the chain. So all of this will be reviewed in the post-pandemic world. And I hope that there will be a mechanism by which we can assign certain essential medical goods to the appropriate local production.